Good evening. As chair of the commission, I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission to order at 5:02 p.m. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube. For anyone in the public watching who would prefer to watch via a different platform than they're currently using, please do visit our social media at Redistricting Michigan to find the link for viewing on YouTube. Our live stream today includes closed captioning, ASL interpretation, Bengali, Spanish, and Arabic translation services will be provided for effective participation in this meeting. Email us at redistricting@michigan.gov for additional viewing options or details on accessing language translation services for this meeting. People with disabilities needing other specific accommodations should also contact redistricting@michigan.gov. This meeting is being recorded and will be available at www.michigan.gov/MICRC at a later date. This meeting is also being transcribed, and those transcriptions will be made available and posted on michigan.gov/MICRC, along with written public comment submissions. There is also a public comment portal that may be accessed by visiting michigan.gov/MICRC. This portal can be utilized to post maps and comments, which can be viewed by both the commission and the public. Members of the media who may have questions before, during, or after the meeting should direct those questions to Edward Woods III, our Communications and Outreach Director for the Commission at woodse3@michigan.gov. For the purposes of the public watching and the public record, I will turn to the Michigan Department of State staff to take note of the commissioners present.
Good evening, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call that you are attending the meeting remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, please announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. I will start with Doug Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry. Juanita Curry.
Present.
Anthony Eade.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang. Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present, attending remotely from Battle Creek, Michigan.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner. Commissioner Wagner, we will return to you. It looks like you might be experiencing technical difficulties right now. Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
Aaron Wagner. Eleven of 13 commissioners are present, and there is a quorum.
Thank you, Michigan Department of State staff. Without objection, I would like our host commissioner, Commissioner Witches, to provide a presentation. Hearing no objection, Commissioner Witches, please proceed with our welcome and introductions.
Do my best.
You got it.
Hello, my name is Commissioner Witches, and I would like to welcome each and every one of you to the MICRC public hearing that we're hosting in Port Huron. We are happy you are here to learn about Michigan's new redistricting process and how you can engage throughout the process to ensure that your voice is heard. And looking at the agenda, please note that the vast majority of our time this evening is spent listening to you. We are eager to hear your ideas either in person or remotely about drawing Michigan's congressional House, Senate districts, and, Michigan congressional, House, and Senate districts. In addition to hearing about district lines, we also want to hear about your communities of interest that are important to you. At this time, I would like my fellow colleagues in the building to introduce themselves and share where they live in Michigan, the Great Lakes state. Actually, Aaron Wagner and Commissioner Lang seem to have some technical difficulties. So we'll skip them for now and we'll start over in the corner here with Mr. Clark and we'll snake around to the left.
Well, thank you all for coming out this evening. We appreciate it, and we're very pleased to be in Port Huron. My name is Douglas Clark, and I'm one of the commissioners, and I live in Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Good evening. Thank you for coming. My name is Richard H. Weiss, and I live in Saginaw Township in Saginaw, Michigan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Zatella, and I live in Wayne County, Michigan.
Hello, everybody. I am a Detroit native. My name is Brittany Kellum. I'm a commissioner, acting chair, and it's an honor to be here.
Anthony. Hi, everyone. My name's Anthony Eade. I'm from Orchard Lake, Michigan. It's really nice to be here and hear from y'all tonight.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Janice Follett. I live in a little township 50 miles outside of Detroit called Highland. We're all anxious to hear what you have to say. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Welcome tonight. My name is Steve Lett, and I live up by the Traverse City area in Interlaken. We're glad that you're all here. I kind of represent the northern boundaries and the western side since I'm the closest one up there. So I will be interested to see what the east side has to say.
Good evening, everyone. My name's MC. I live in Lansing, Michigan. Thanks for being here.
And my name is Dustin Witches. I live either in Ypsilanti or Howell, Michigan, depending on what day of the week it is. And I'm looking forward to hearing what every single one of you has to say.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juanita Curry. I see that each of you, it's good to see each of you out. It lets us know that you're just as concerned because of your presence as we are. And we're eager to hear you out tonight and let us know how you feel about the redistricting process. You're welcome to be here. And I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
I almost forgot Commissioner Orton.
I am Cynthia Orton. I wish I could be with you there in person, but I'm glad that I can at least hear what you have to say. And I live in Battle Creek, Michigan.
Commissioner Wagner is attending remotely via telephone, so she is going to say hello right now as well.
Hello, this is Erin Wagner. I am listening from Charlotte, Michigan, and I wish I could be there. Thank you.
Okay, so for a little bit of a history lesson here, in 2018, more than 61% of the Michigan voters intentionally and deliberately passed Proposal 2, a ballot initiative for voters and not legislators to take responsibility for map fairness and public feedback in the redistricting process, and created the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, or the MICRC. For the first time in Michigan's history, the MICRC will lead the redistricting process to draw fair and independent maps. You're comprised of 13 randomly selected Michigan residents that include 4 who affiliate with the Democratic Party, 5 who affiliate as independents, and 4 who affiliate as Republicans. This was done through a lottery held by the Michigan Department of State, and it was also done through a vendor of their choosing. I believe it was Raymond Accounting Services that actually did the drawing. The MICRC has the exclusive authority in the new redistricting process for Michigan's congressional, House, and Senate districts. As fellow residents, the MICRC understands your expectations to draw maps in an open and transparent manner that meets constitutional mandates. Our mission and vision exemplifies our resolve not for today, but for future generations as well. In your interaction with the MICRC and its staff, you should witness the core values of integrity, respect, transparency, and being purposeful. Once again, we are glad that you're here, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, Commissioner Witches. Without objection, Executive Director Sue Hammersmith will now provide a presentation about our public hearings. Hearing no objection, Sue Hammersmith, you have the floor and you can share about our public hearings.
Thank you, Commissioner Kellum. Good evening, and thank you everyone for being here this evening. We are happy you've joined us in Port Huron for our 13th of 16 public hearings. To ensure fair and impartial maps, the MICRC is required to solicit public input during at least 10 public hearings before drawing the first line on any map. This is 16 public hearings will be hosted. So I like to say our commissioners are overachievers. They only had to host 10, but they're hosting 16. Not a single line has been drawn or will be drawn before the public hearings are completed. And when the lines are drawn, it will be in open meetings. There are three purposes for the public hearings. These are stated in the Constitution. One is to inform the public about the redistricting process. The second, to share the purpose and responsibilities of the commission. And three, to solicit information from the public about potential redistricting plans. And most importantly, we're glad you're here tonight. So what is redistricting? Every 10 years after the census, the lines must be redrawn across America to accurately reflect the populations. The process of drawing the lines is called redistricting. In 2020, the census reported Michigan's population as just over 10 million people. And there will be 161 different districts that will need to be drawn, 13 Michigan congressional districts with an average of about 775,000 people, 38 Michigan Senate districts with an average of about 265,000 people, and 110 Michigan House districts with an average of 91,600 people. The Commission's purpose and responsibilities include exercising the constitutional power granted solely to the Commission to redistrict Michigan. This is the only entity that can draw the lines in the new districts. Secondly, the Commission operates in an impartial and transparent manner that instills public confidence in the integrity of the process. Third, this commission conducts statewide public outreach and invites meaningful participation in the redistricting process. Also, another responsibility of the commission is to adopt 3 sets of maps, one for each type of district, while complying with the US and the Michigan constitutional mandates. Their goal is to ensure integrity, public availability, and accountability for the data that will be used for the public comments and for commission information. And lastly, the commission needs to assure compliance with the redistricting criteria. There are 7 criteria that again are listed in our Constitution. The first is complying with federal law that includes equal population and adhering to the Voting Rights Act. Secondly, districts must be geographically contiguous. Third, communities of interest are taken into consideration. And fourth and fifth, no disproportionate advantage for a political party or favor or disfavor an incumbent elected official or a candidate. Sixth, the lines must reflect consideration of county, city, and township boundaries. And lastly, the districts must be reasonably compact. It's a pretty tall order, but I can tell you this commission is up to the challenge. What are communities of interest? We've been hearing a lot about these throughout the state. Our Constitution says they may include, but are not limited to, populations that share cultural or historical characteristics or economic interests. They do not include relationships with political parties, incumbents, or candidates. So what does the MICRC want to know about your community of interest? If you would like to share about yours, please give us a name for your community of interest. Tell us about the common bond that makes it a community of interest. Share the geographic area that's covered by your community of interest. And share about what governmental policies may be important to you as a group and how keeping your community intact would enhance the quality of your representation in Congress or the Michigan legislature. And lastly, are there other areas that would strengthen or weaken your community of interest? So why are we here? To hear from you, to hear directly from you about your ideas to redistrict Michigan's congressional House and Senate districts. And we're here to listen and learn about your community of interest. Why should you care? This is a historic process. This is the first time ever citizens have had input into redistricting in the state of Michigan. The process empowers citizens to provide input for the lines that best represent the interests that they share and their values. There's openness and transparency in the process for statewide participation, and we invite the communities of interest to share their voices, so how they can best be represented. So again, thank you for being here and for sharing your thoughts with us this evening.
Thank you, Sue. Without objection, we'll now have our public comment guidelines. Hearing no objection, our General Counsel, Julianne Pastula, will come to us to talk to us about our public comment guidelines.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, St. Clair County. Thank you for the warm welcome. I would like to cover the public comment guidelines with you this evening. First, in-person public comment will occur first, followed by remote public comment. The time limit for each speaker is 2 minutes. Please conclude your remarks when you hear the audible timer, and there will also be a countdown clock on the screen. If any person disrupts the orderly progress of this meeting or refuses to comply with applicable MICRC guidelines and rules, the chairperson may rule that person out of order and/or order their removal from this meeting. Please provide your public comment and/or submit proposed plans in the public comment portal, which can be found at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. Thank you.
Thank you, General Counsel. Without objection, we'll now move to our public comment. Hearing no objection, we'll proceed to public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated that they would like to provide in-person public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. Please step to the nearest microphone when you hear your number called. You will have 2 minutes to address the commission, and please conclude your remarks when your 2 minutes has ended and you hear the timer. Please go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any specific area on the map that you might be speaking about. The public comment tool is located at www.michigan.gov/MICRC. First in line to provide public comment is number 1.
In 2017 and 2018, I was a volunteer for a group called Voters Not Politicians. This group was instrumental in getting the independent redistricting proposal on the Michigan ballot. One of my duties was to canvass voters, asking them their views on redistricting. One of the areas I was giving actually was right around this Blue Water Convention Center right now. What I found out is whether voters identified themselves as Democrats, Independents, Republicans, the majority answered they wanted districts drawn fairly that could be won by either party. The voters wanted districts where candidates would listen to their views, not the wishes of a political party. They did not want one district full of voters for party number 1 and another district full of voters for party number 2. They wanted fair, impartial districts. That's what they told me going door to door. After doing this canvassing, I was fairly sure that the ballot proposal, when it was on the ballot in November of 2018, was probably going to pass. But I was surprised that it passed by almost a 2/3 vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. I will also say, though I am calling your number, you can introduce yourselves to us as much as you're comfortable with. So thank you, sir, for taking the time to provide comments to the commission. 2.
Hello, my name is Andrew Kircher. I'm fortunate enough to have grown up in this area, spent about a decade away, and moved back to call it, hopefully, the home for the rest of my life. I really like this area. So I'm so glad to welcome you to the area, and thank you for listening to our thoughts. I jotted down a couple of notes. Firstly, you've already kind of mentioned it. I think transparency is really why you exist. So having that as a priority really above all is very important. So I'd love to see, I know no lines have been drawn, but I think as soon as they are, making them as widely available to the public should really be a priority to increase that awareness. And you also kind of ask about community of interests, and that's what I wanted to speak about. I guess my name, and probably many of the people here, have a name for this area, the Blue Water area. I think it's an area that shares, I'm a professional historian, so I can tell you of the past, we do share many common ties. This would be St. Clair County up to about Lexington or so, and down through to the St. Clair River. Down into the Lake St. Clair. And this area has had a lot of historic economic ties, and I think it would be something that would benefit from having many of the same issues to be represented there. For example, that we are an international border, and many of these border communities would share those kind of common interests. I know, for example, in our current state district map, the city of Port Huron's been placed into the 83rd district along with other parts of the thumb. And while kind of colloquially, I would mention to people, I always show on my hand map, we're the knuckle of the thumb. I think that this area might have more in common with Metro Detroit than necessarily up in the thumb. I know many people who travel down for jobs in Metro Detroit, not really going out to the farm field. So hopefully the Blue Water area could be considered a community of interest. And again, thank you for all of the hard work that you're putting into this.
Thank you, Andrew, for taking the time to share your comments with the commission. 3. You don't have to run, take your time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ryan Johnson. I'm with the St. Clair County Democrats and chair of the 10th Congressional District Democratic Committee. I'd like to welcome the commissioners to my home, the beautiful city of Port Huron. We're happy to have you here, and we appreciate the hard work you're putting in to try and draw fair districts for Michigan. A major factor in the extremism we see in our politics today is unfairly drawn districts that give one party an inordinate advantage over the other. Unfairly drawn districts lead to less representation, as sitting and aspiring public servants don't need to listen or respond to voices coming from the other side of the aisle. Rather, because their unfairly drawn district is weighted so heavily in their party's favor, they only listen to the loudest, most extreme voices on their side, leading to legislation that does not have majority support. Fairly drawn districts, on the other hand, are more competitive and ensure that either side has a real shot to claim the seat. Competition in the political sphere is a good thing, as it leads to aspiring public servants truly listening to everyone in their district, regardless of party affiliation. More folks have a chance to sway their public servant, which is what true representation is all about. Improved representation encourages open and honest discussion, debate, and ultimately compromise through good faith negotiating. This will effectively move office holders away from the extreme edges, away from heated rhetoric meant only to activate fear, anger, and hatred, and allow cooler heads to prevail and craft legislation meant to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Thank you for your time this evening and for the work you're all putting in to help strengthen democracy here in Michigan, and I hope you enjoy your stay in Port Huron.
Thank you, Ryan, for taking the time to come out and address the commission. 4.
Hello, my name is Mark. Thing we need to remember as we enter this first time ever opportunity to redraw the districts is how very little competition there is among the existing congressional districts we have right now. Realistically, only 4 of our congressional districts are considered competitive from one election to the next. That cannot stand. We need fair representation. We need real competition because there are too many problems that get kicked down the road when there's a saneness in thinking and so forth. So the one thing I really want to emphasize is the fact that we really need to make certain that each and every congressional district that we possibly can draw is competitive and that there's fair representation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for taking the time to address the commission. 5, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Mike. Until we have a proportional representation, we need this citizen redistricting committee. But the goal should be the same, that all voters deserve representation and that all political groups in society deserve to be represented in our legislatures in proportion to their strength in the electorate. In other words, everyone should have the right to fair representation. Voters took the extraordinary step of amending our state constitution to put you, the citizen commissioners, fully in charge of this district drawing process. 61% of Michiganders voted in support of this amendment in 2018. The majority of voters in Michigan lean left, indicated by statewide voting results, yet the state legislature leans right. This stokes feelings of unfairness and results in laws and policies unsupported by the majority. In other words, minority rule. This is fundamentally un-American. Republicans have sought to undo this commission. They are the minority trying to push an agenda on the majority. A 3-judge federal court recently called how Republicans drew the current districts as political gerrymander of historic proportions. You must find a way to allow everyone's voice to be heard. I call on this commission to draw districts that reflect Michigan's communities of interest. By law, this redistricting commission must now take into consideration Michigan's diversity and communities of interest. You can give these communities a real chance to speak about themselves, to speak about the concerns that they have, and to speak about the power of their communities. Equity is important and it is real. Some have said that the districts just need tweaking. Drawing new maps based on our current gerrymandered maps would be a terrible idea. You have a clean slate, you have a fresh start. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. If you are speaking and the timer goes off while you're speaking, we encourage you to finish your sentence as well as visit our public comment tool. That's www.michigan.gov/MICRC. And you can always continue your thoughts there or talk about any specific area that you might have brought to our attention here, as well as if you have something with you that you don't mind and you want the commission to have, whether it's a map or something that you are reading from, you are welcome to approach the table and give that to us. We won't bite you, not today. Okay. 6.
Welcome, you guys. I'm Dean Burden from Snover, Michigan, Sanilac County, which is just the first county north of here. I'm an organic farmer. We've been organic farming for 34 years now. And we also have our own cleaning plant. So we clean up for about 100 other organic farmers. And just to give an example, we have some problems that the normal representative wouldn't know about. A few years ago, we were shipping a bunch of containers. In fact, we ship containers of product all over the world. But in one instance, we had a ship that had hit rough water from here to Japan and 6 containers in the water. So we had to issue that way. So we had to use our representative, national and state representative, to help us get that issue. But what my main concern is that we have so many problems because we're connected to, for example, Port Huron. Port Huron people don't know what the farming in the thumb is. So I would encourage you guys to try to put
farming areas together because it's really critical for us in the future. I don't think one of you did not have a meal today. So we need farmers and be able to have farmers that can produce good quality fruit for you, whether it's chemical or organic, that's your choice. But we need to have representation that's fair for all of us. Example being Huron County and Sanilac County. They're connected counties, and it would be really nice to have, because there's no, Port Huron's one of the largest cities, and I see one of you are from Saginaw. So in that, then Saginaw really is in the middle of an area that is really high population. We need to be caring for our farming area because we all need farmers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share about your community and make us more aware of those differences. We appreciate that. 7.
This doesn't sound like it's on. Now it's on. Okay. Thank you. A little shorter than I thought. My name is Kathy Burden. I'm from Sanilac County also, Lamont Township, and we're about an hour and a half from here. Also a rural area. And my comment to you would be, I'd like to see the lines drawn so the communities are square and compact, easy to get around, and keep people of like-minded occupations together to be represented, as the former speaker has just mentioned. But I thank you for taking the time. It's a hard job to go around, listen to people, and we're very pleased to have you here and welcome you to our area now. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy, for taking the time to address the commission as well as give us that warm welcome. 8, it looks like you're ready. 8, number 8, it's your turn.
I'm ready. I do know where Snover is, home of the Snover Snoozer, I've heard. And most of the people that aren't going to be farmers, they move to Port Huron. So their relatives live up there, but they usually might not vote for the same thing their relatives vote for. I'd like to know, I know you're probably going to show your hands, but is everyone happy with the $40,000 a year that you're getting for this wonderful job that you had? Don't have to see it. But was the commission funded correctly? Because that was the worry, that they were not going to fund this commission, so it wasn't going to be able to do their job. It's a question I have. I didn't research it enough to see if it was, but it was a question in the beginning. And then the main thing about the districting in Michigan, as opposed to Ohio, is we don't have straight lines at all. When you put a city in, it usually has water on one side of it, or hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland right next to it. So where do you put the line? Do you put the line right at the grain elevator? Do you put the line at the tractor supply? Do you put the line at the public pool? Because people move into those areas, their kids move into those areas, they go to college in those areas, and then hopefully they'll move back to where they were raised. So the districts, with the difficult job you have to put the districts together, I'd like to kind of give an analogy of that toy that you used to play with, where you had the square and then you had to put a round piece in the square and then a triangle and whatever other shapes were in there. Almost an impossible job. Once you had more experience, you could do that. Hopefully this commission gets that experience to put those different shapes in Michigan's hand.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. We appreciate you. 9.
Hello, my name is Ruth Habalevsky. I'm a resident of Port Huron, Michigan, and I thank the commission for the opportunity to present my concerns. And they are the following. You need new maps, throw out the old maps, start fresh. The districts need to be competitive as possible. That's very important. Avoid the packing and the cracking. So there's to promote fair representation. And my community of interest incorporates an urban area extending to rural areas. Their citizens have varying educational levels, many different professions ranging from doctor to farm worker and everything in between. As of July 1st, 2019, there were over 159,000 residents in St. Clair County. The average income was only $45,494. We're below the national average and the state average on that. The population is 91% white, 2.6% Black or African American, 0.5% American Indian, 0.6% Asian, and 3.5% Hispanic. So it's important to look at that. It's also important to have fair redistricting to promote fair elections. And I, again, thank you for your time, for your very important job. Thank you.
Thank you so much for addressing the commission. 10.
Good evening. My
Good
name is
evening.
Pat. I live up along the lake shore, about 35 miles, and I thank you all for coming to our beautiful area because I believe the work you're doing is incredibly important to us. If I had to label a community of interest that I feel connected to, it's diversity. I've been an independent my entire voting life and retain that. I want districts where it's been said over and over again, partisan politics won't dictate who wins. And I'm concerned about the emphasis on communities of interest because when you emphasize one special interest in a district, those of us who don't belong to that special interest or any other special interest, frankly, go underrepresented, as I feel I am in my district today. So that would be my plea as you're optimizing the districts, as you're directing what variables will be most important for consideration, a diversity that reflects our state, that gives equal opportunity to qualified candidates, whatever their partisan politics. That is my plea. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pat, for sharing your comments with the commission. 11.
Hello, my name is Dick Cummings. I've lived on a farm where I currently live since around 1960. However, my whole lifetime I've worked with industrial situations. I would like to suggest that as a community of interest that St. Clair County and the Thumb area, the counties north of us, all be in one district because there's a commonality of interest. In the Thumb area in St. Clair County, there's light industrial areas out through all communities, okay? But the heavy thing is agriculture and tourism. And right now we're tied in with northern Macomb County, which is heavy industrial, plus the voters there work in heavy industry, okay, in the Detroit areas and like that. So I don't think we get a fair share up here, okay? I think the agriculture situation and the tourism bureau and light industry, as you will, all deserve a fair shake. And thank you and welcome to our community, Ms. Chairperson and delegates. And I think this is a great thing, having the people from the situation say what their situation is so everybody can understand it better. And thank you for your time and welcome to our area.
Dick, thank you so much. We appreciate your comments that you share with the commission this evening. 12.
Well, I'm number 12. My name is John Patnato. I live in Memphis, Michigan, about 25 miles west of here. My voice is not very good, but I will pursue. You're all talking about people of interest, common interest. As far as I'm concerned, once you start down that path, you are gerrymandering. I think you ought to start with an area, put a circle or a box around it, expand it till you get the right number onto the next box. But I really believe once you start, thinking about who is voting for who. Like all you farmers want to talk about one thing, which is opposed to cities, but we're all people. And we all believe basically the same things. So just deal with people and numbers, not desires or common interests. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. And it is a pleasure to hear you all, fellow citizens, listening to each other and expanding your way of thinking. So this is what this process is all about. 13.
My name is Peggy, and I'm from St. Clair County here. And I just have a few comments. I'm so glad you're here. I am so glad to have a voice in this process. And it is important to me that you as a committee stay focused on being impartial. We depend on you to draw the maps that will not advantage one party over the other. Our democracy is being threatened on so many sides today. And I ask that you make sure that our voters have a voice and that their representatives are motivated to listen to them. The more balanced the parties in any district, the better chance that voters can pick their representatives, not the other way around. So go for preserving democracy. Remember, we're counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. 14.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Walker, and I live in Port Huron, 48060. I'm here because I want to advocate community of interest, people of color. And I say this living in Port Huron, in which the largest proportion of people of color live in St. Clair County. And what I would like to propose is, well, first of all, I'm looking at the 10th Congressional District, of which I'm a resident. And as a person of color, this is a fairly large congressional district. I believe 723,000 residents are a part of it. Of that 723,000, less than 3% are Black people. So my promotion of community of interest is that I think that this district needs to be redrawn. I think that as much respect as I have for the thumb area in general, I really think that the farther you go up in the thumb, the less diverse and representative it is for people such as myself. So my proposal is that the district be redrawn to be St. Clair County and Macomb County. The proportion of people of color, especially Black people, grows significantly when you redraw in that way. So that's my proposal. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Tom. And we encourage anyone that's coming up and speaking about a specific area. As you see, many of us are from vastly different spaces all across Michigan, but please do submit those specific maps or even in writing describing the area. And you can find that public comment tool, michigan.gov/MICRC. 15, please.
Hello, I'm Patricia Hott from Sandusky and Sanilac County. And I would also like to thank you for hearing and taking into consideration our comments. The first thing I'd like to say is I am very happy with the present state of the State House and State Senate lines in my area. But I would encourage you not to use the roadways as dividing points. I would really also like to encourage you not to split neighborhoods and split counties if possible. I know when you get into some of the larger counties, that may be something you have to do, and to not split townships. Neighborhoods, townships are all their own communities of interest. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission, and we'll move to 16. Would you like a seat? Would you like to do your, are you sure? Okay.
It's the start of the stand-up that that causes the pain.
I understand. Everyone needs a little push. It's okay.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
My name is Don Derby. I live in Marysville, St. Clair County, Michigan. And I'm a Vietnam era vet of the United States Navy, with the privilege of having worn the uniform of the Navy from our country for 16 years total, from 66, 70 with the regular Navy, and from 80 to 92 with drilling reserves. I received many services from the Veterans Administration in our area here and down in Detroit, so they are very high on my priority list. I also pastor 2 churches, one in Sanilac County and one in St. Clair County in the Methodist religion. And so I have a great interest in issues that address religious freedom, and hope that you'll be looking at how that can be addressed in your lining of districts. The churches that I serve are in rural farming districts. So I have a great interest on those who make their living on the farm and bring us the foods that come to our tables. I am a strong supporter of the Constitution of the United States, especially the issues that reflect the issues of the First, Second, and Fourth Amendments, and how they are interpreted and applied in our state. I would particularly like to see constitutional carry of firearms in the state of Michigan considered. I would like to see the boundaries in the state of Michigan drawn in such a way that is equitable and just for all our citizens. And I thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your comments with the commission. 17.
Hello, I'm Leslie Lambright. Strange voice. There's 3 points. I hope I can remember them all. They're short. I'm going to go to the third first. When you put up the criteria about what kind of interests in this actual area, I would suggest if we're going to organize around an interest, that it be the Great Lakes, that it be Lake Huron and the St. Clair River. I mean, we're an extraordinary state, and this area is exceptional because of the water, and we need to protect it and care for it. It feeds, sustains, and gives us great pleasure. A comment about the religion. I am a loyal reader of the Michigan News. I'm blocking on the name. Bridge, thank you, bridge.com. It's a neutral, well-researched online. And one of the things I read that brought me here tonight is that many of the comments were asking to organize around religion or congregation. I want to speak against that. This country was absolutely founded on the principle of separation of church and state. And it is very, very important that we continue that founding principle. Then the third point is, but it looks like you've done it. I was going to read from the Brennan Center for Justice, but looking at the initial criteria, you've clearly integrated that criteria into the principles. I would recommend everyone here that they look up the Brennan Center for Justice because section 3 has 6 suggested criteria for redistricting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective with the commission. We appreciate that. 18.
Good evening, Commission.
Good
My name is
evening.
Ken Harris. I've been very appreciative of being able to represent some of the people of the city of Port Huron and other various groups in the area. But I guess my really concern here tonight as we visit here, there's a couple things. I guess the United States Supreme Court, by avoiding attack on these type of commissions, I think of giving you guys a blessing in disguise that we'd be able to create such a commission and get some things done. But I think one of the things that really stands out, and I think it should really stand out for the citizens of Port Huron and St. Clair County, is the fact that the current census is going to reduce the congressional districts by 1 as far as in the representative count. And if you look at that number right now, and they've already, somebody's drawn a line someplace, they said, well, what a nice place to get rid of a US representative, and that's in this district. So I think your job here tonight is very important. But the other thing that I'd like to say is, 2018 is only 3 years ago, yet our country has changed immensely in the last 3 years. We've grown from a country that did a lot together from a country that threatens and intimidates in different styles. I hope that you guys are fortunate enough that you don't have to put up with this in your deliberations, and I hope you have a check and balance so that doesn't occur. Thank you very much.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 19.
Good evening. Thanks for coming to Port Huron, our community. My name is Jim Frank, and I'm chair of the St. Clair County Democratic Party. And we're grateful that you're here because we've supported this commission right from the start in redistricting. And you all should know that this is also the site where the Port Huron Statement was written more than 60 years ago. And that statement is advocacy for participatory government, which is indeed what this commission is engaged in. And we appreciate that. Port Huron is also a great example of cracking a district. They've taken a largely Democratic city and attached it to Sanilac County, which for all intents and purposes is 4/5 Republican when it comes to voting. That dilutes the votes of Democrats and mutes the voice of Democrats in St. Clair County. If you also look at St. Clair County, you'll see St. Clair County is divided up into 3 state representative districts, the 83rd, the 81st, and the 32nd. As a result of this sort of carving up of our county is not given the opportunity to let its voters voice their concerns about a number of different issues within the state of Michigan, and it limits our ability to communicate with our representatives at the state Senate level, the state representative level, and even at the congressional level. Because I agree with Mr. Kircher, and I agree with the other, Mr. Walker, that our congressional districts and the 83rd districts really do need to be redrawn. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you all joining us here at the site, at the place of the Port Huron Statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing that bit of history and for sharing your comments with the commission. 19. You were 19. 20. Sometimes I don't always keep good track. I apologize. 20.
Good evening. My name is Joe Dams, DT retiree. I do live in northern St. Clair County, close to the border of Sanilac County. It is about time we get rid of the gerrymandering that's gone on in past years. And I, for one, believe that in my area, we have more in common with the Upper Thumb than we do with the northern part of Macomb County. I am a little small-time farmer, so I'd like to thank you people. You guys have a tremendous job ahead of you. So please take care and concern about everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to the commission. 21.
My name is Judy Lindberg. I'm a native of Detroit, now living in Marysville, Michigan. My comments. In addition to squaring up by considering drawing distance along current county and community entities, a review of current congressional districts were 82, 81, and 34 in a shape of a cross in the middle of a square. It doesn't make sense. And this is a good opportunity to square them up and keeping some interest together. We're a small town. We are a community of small towns with a distinct maritime flavor, a life of fishing, boating, and hunting in the large state game area. One common connection is sharing the shorelines of lakes Huron and St. Clair, as well as an international border. Factors in redistricting that should be considered for our community is the geography of the St. Clair River watershed and the communities that have developed along the rivers draining into it. We share the Lake Huron shoreline problems such as high destructive water levels and the threats of pollution from industry or farming on the rivers. These current problems have created a strong base for addressing environmental issues now coming forward as we address climate change. That's the environmental community here is strong, and I think that it's important as our nation is looking at climate change and the factors we need. And I thank you for this opportunity to have some input in a very vexing problem.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. I see you all eyeing the timer, and I'm glad that you are honoring the time, but still finish what you're going to say as much, unless you have like a whole nother page, but make sure you're finishing your comment. And please do share if you are someone that had a little bit more to say. Take the time to go online if you can, and please do share the rest of what you are going to say because we do want to hear. So thank you. 22.
Hello, my name is Mona DeQuee. I'm an interloper from the South. So I was born and raised in Pontiac, and I live in Waterford Township, which is in northern Oakland. So I do have some comments about that I'll address. But I want to thank the commission for this, for your service and for the opportunity to advocate for my community and the state in general. In 2017, I volunteered for Voters Not Politicians, a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization whose mission it was to pass Proposition 2, which would amend Michigan's constitution to establish an independent commission to determine the drawing of our districts, thus all of you. The thing that impressed me most while gathering petitions to put Proposal 2 on the 2018 ballot was the nonpartisan disapproval of gerrymandering, the manipulation of boundaries to favor one party or one constituency. I met Clinton and Trump voters who signed the petition and were eager to remedy the unfair aspect of creating districts to suit the needs of one party. As the name of the organization implies, much of the public felt that candidates maneuvered the lines in order to choose their voters. The results were all too familiar: uncompetitive elections, ideological extremism, lack of transparency, and a loss of true representative government. The resounding 61% to 39% victory for Prop 2 is all the evidence you need that your mandate is clear. Start fresh and draw fair, equitable, and competitive districts now. In terms of redrawing the lines for North Oakland County, I believe Waterford Township has more in common with the city of Pontiac and West Bloomfield than with its rural northern neighbors and the farming communities of North Macomb County. In conclusion, while the United States is very divided culturally, economically, and politically, let us take this historic opportunity to right this wrong and return electoral decision-making back to the people of Michigan. Again, thank you for allowing me to weigh in on this very crucial issue.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. 23.
Hello, thank you for being here. My name is Patty Samar. I'm a resident of the city of Port Huron, and I am a writer and a graphic designer. So math and numbers are not my thing. But I do understand that we are in this situation in this state and in other states as well, because historically, both political parties have gerrymandered to their advantage. And they've done that nationwide. But I also know that the way they did that in both parties was we had data, they all have data available to them, as I'm sure you do, as they're drawing the political party line, or they're drawing the districting lines. So I ask that you use that data to very carefully create a metrics to fairly use the data, so that we no longer end up with an election like 2018, where we end up with a governor with one party and a legislature of another, and then nothing gets done. And I think everybody all around the state gets very frustrated. So thank you so much for coming and for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. 24.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I could do friends, Romans, countrymen. My name is Richard Matska. I am a veteran of the United States Navy and a resident of St. Clair County since 1968. Yesterday, I had to drive old M21 because 69 was all torn up from Imlay City to Port Huron. And I can assure you that St. Clair County is doing quite well as a rural Christian community. And I hope you don't try to intermingle us with the parts of Flint or Detroit. I looked over the original voters, not politicians' ballot proposal in the list of donors. And truthfully, I was dismayed by the fallacy of some of these documents. It looks to me that just different politicians have replaced former politicians who previously gerrymandered our districts. Now it is this board's turn to gerrymander our state. It would seem to me that it would have made it much easier if this committee had proposed the changes they expected to do prior to these meetings, rather than trying to go to all these different locations and get the community of interest issues. It seems that it was such a waste of time for both of us. Every night just before I go to bed, I look in the mirror and ask the question that my father taught me. Did I do the best I could today? Now it's your turn to answer that very same question. God bless your journey.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. As a point of clarification, we haven't drawn or done anything yet. There's no secret or veil. We're excited to hear about what you have to offer us and then proceed after that, in which you'll also have the opportunity to look at those maps and weigh in. So this is all about our integrity and transparency. And I think I could speak for all of the commissioners when I say that we are excited to do the job that you have charged us with. Though skeptical, I'm excited to do the right thing and to use this as a valiant opportunity to create democracy. So 25.
My name is Jerry Tkach. Full disclosure, I was the unsuccessful Democratic candidate in the 82nd state rep last fall. I'm currently the vice chair of the Lapeer Democratic Party. When I addressed the commission back in Flint a few weeks ago, the community of interest that I was trying to express is this torn up I-69 highway that we have here from Flint all the way to Port Huron. Generally, what I see is the community of interest is where people live. That's how you're going to be setting aside these districts. But what makes their community of interest important is also where they work. So for example, I lived in Lapeer and I would work in Flint. Or for a few years, I lived in Lapeer and I was a manager at the Birchwood Mall here in Port Huron. That hour distance seems to be a limit where people would drive. So when you have a district that extends all the way from Macomb County up to Port Austin, that's well beyond a reasonable congressional district. So people are expressing their community of interest, but there should also be a community of interdependence. And the idea that I was trying to propose was that we link urban areas with rural areas so that the legislators and our representatives would represent both sides of the story. And that's what we're looking for. One final aspect that I want to remind the commission is what's been called prison gerrymandering. For example, in Lapeer, we have the Thumb Regional Correctional Facility. It has 1,000 inmates, 1,000 inmates that are counted toward the Lapeer census. However, these inmates are not from Lapeer County for the most part, and they do not have any right to vote. So keep that in mind when you guys are redistricting and there's a proposal in the legislature, 4276 in the House and 151 in the Senate, which would have the inmates, although they can't vote now, but have their census data go to where they were from prior to incarceration. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with the commission. 26.
Hi, my name is John Millen. I'm from Saginaw, and I'm here to speak to the business of the commission, not any particular district. As you're receiving your public comment, this includes proposed redistricting maps. And my understanding from reading the amendment and current news reports, those maps and our comments are advisory to the commission. The commission will then look at all that information and propose maps that they will put out for public comment, and then the commission will vote on them. I would like to ask the commission to publicly commit to taking at least one map that the public has proposed for each type of district, congressional, state senate, and state representative, and proposing that as one of the maps they will put out for public comment and then vote on. There are people out there working very hard on those maps. They have to follow the same 7 criteria this commission does in creating those maps. And as we have heard from the Executive Director, Sue Hammersmith, the communities of interest identify themselves. So as each person is proposing a map, one must assume they are proposing a map from their community of interest viewpoint. And I think it is valid to look at those maps as the ones the commission will create by synthesizing all the data and comments they get. The second thing I would like to mention is that considering the comments made yesterday during the Supreme Court hearing on the commission asking to extend the deadline to create maps, I would tend to agree with some of the questions from the justices. I would like this commission first to try to get its work done by its constitutionally mandated deadlines. If an extension is needed at the point where it is not able to be met, is when to ask for that extension. Thank you.
Thank you so much for providing your perspective to the commission, and we'll move to 27.
Hello, my name is Marty Habalevsky. I'm a resident of Port Huron. And as a voter and someone who participates in both partisan and nonpartisan activities, I'm here to tell you that I hope that you will be drawing new maps that don't start out with the old maps, because they're not really the way they should be. They're gerrymandered, and we need something better than that. Also, I hope that you will draw as many competitive districts as possible so that the districts themselves can be as fair for any political party. And the community of interest that I'm really here to represent is the community of small business owners. I operated a consulting practice in Port Huron for 5 years. I'm retired now, but I'm very active in a number of business groups. And I am the chair of the Blue Water Area Chamber of Commerce Public Affairs Committee that brings all kinds of candidates and public office holders to speak to this community. I'm also the chair of the Sierra Club's Blue Water Committee. And Sierra Club is, you know, the largest and oldest grassroots environmental organization, founded in 1892 and is nonpartisan. So I'm really hoping that you can do the best that you can do to make the districts, for whatever the race is, as fair as possible. And I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you for taking the time to address the commission. 28.
Hello, my name is David Allen Tyler. I have the privilege of serving as the chair of the Sanilac County Democratic Party. I live in Peck, Michigan, a largely rural area in Michigan's 10th congressional district. It happens to be a traditionally Republican district. And I've always wondered why we let that be written off. We, in our district, if you were to look at the map, it's like a poorly designed jigsaw puzzle and not competitive for the most part. I also have the privilege of serving on my county's, and I'm going to butcher this word, so I apologize, appropriate commission for our commissioners. I'm the only Democrat that serves on that committee, but we came together and gave criteria that is unifying. I want to share some of that with you. All districts, we've agreed, shall be single-member districts of nearly equal population as practiced using the latest census data. All districts shall be contiguous. All districts shall be compact and of nearly square shape, as is practical depending on geography of the area involved. No township or part thereof shall be combined with any other city or any other part thereof for a single district unless combination is needed to meet population standards. That applies to villages and townships as well. And lastly, the one that I want to share with you is, we shall draw no district for a commissioner to affect partisan advantage. Our first district in our county is massive compared to the rest of them. And people don't see their commissioner. I hope we can avoid that. The suggestions I've made will also help simplify ballot elections as well. I urge the commission to create new, fresh congressional districts that make sense. It should be easy to know what congressional district you live in. And I want to thank you all for being here. It means a lot because everybody needs to participate in this process. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to the commission this evening. 29.
Good evening.
Good evening.
And I would like to thank the commission for being here and listening to so many of us with different opinions. My name is Tom Obie. I am from Columbus Township, St. Clair County. I taught philosophy, logic, and English at St. Clair County Community College for 45 years. And therefore, since I was teaching philosophy, it certainly included political philosophy. I have a strong concern with the nature of the districts, particularly as they have been drawn, I think, inappropriately in the past. And I recognize the difficulty this commission will have in making fair and equitable decisions about the districts. I do have a couple of recommendations based on my experience with political philosophy. Many of them will reflect the words of others who've spoken tonight. First of all, please get rid of the gerrymandering that are serving political interests only and not the people that are supposedly being represented. Secondly, I do strongly believe districts should be not just compact, but also of shared interests, or as has been said tonight, communities of interest. It does not make sense to put rural districts in connection with large cities because that will clearly disenfranchise the smaller rural communities of lesser population. That's just not fair. Secondly, or thirdly, by now, districts, yeah, they should be compact, neighbor-based. Lastly, and obviously, they need to be fair and equitable. Some of these may actually prove to be a little bit contradictory, and I recognize that. And that is the difficulty your task will have to deal with. And therefore, I have great sympathy for you, but I deeply appreciate your being here to listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments to the commission this evening and your sympathy. We appreciate it. 30. Okay, for purposes of the public record, 30 is choosing not to speak, which you are allowed to do. So if anyone else feels that they don't want to speak, even though we need you to, speak on our public comment tool online. And 31.
Good evening. My name is Carol Middleton and I live in the city of Port Huron, Michigan. And I wasn't prepared to speak tonight. I was inspired to speak. So first and foremost, thank you to the committee. I do not envy you your jobs, but I am thankful that you took the positions. We are a divided country in so many ways and have been for decades. This didn't happen overnight, the situation we're in where we need to readdress boundaries. We have so many boundaries that we've all allowed to take part of our lives. So what I ask the commissioners to do is, with an open mind, as unbiased as possible, make the decisions that are best for all, not one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time and being inspired to speak. We appreciate that. At this time, we are going to take a 20-minute recess. We encourage you to stay with us because we have more after the recess. So we will be returning at 6, what do I have, 39? Let's make it 6:40. See you at 6:40.
32? Yeah, 32. No.
So that's what it's. So if you please sign up if you haven't. You have until 7 o'clock. But we're in a recess right now and we'll return at 6:40. No, that's not. gotta do roll call too. We're good. Good evening. If we can all find a seat and wrap up those exciting recess conversations.
Tell him.
I call this meeting of the Michigan Independent Citizens Redistricting Commission back to order at 6:43 p.m. For purposes of the public record. I will turn to the Michigan Department of State staff to do a roll.
Hello again, commissioners. Please say present when I call your name. If you are attending the meeting remotely, please announce during roll call that you are attending the meeting remotely. And unless your absence is due to military duty, announce your physical location by stating the county, city, township, or village, and the state from which you are attending the meeting remotely. I'll start with Doug Clark.
Present.
Juanita Curry. Commissioner Curry, could you speak closer to the microphone, please?
Present.
Thank you. Anthony Eid.
Present.
Brittany Kellum.
Present.
Rhonda Lang. Steve Lett.
Present.
Cynthia Orton.
Present, attending remotely from Battle Creek, Michigan.
MC Rothhorn.
Present.
Rebecca Satella.
Present.
Janice Follett.
Present.
Aaron Wagner.
Present, attending remotely from Charlotte, Michigan.
Richard Weiss.
Present.
Dustin Witches.
Present.
12 commissioners are present and there is a quorum.
Thank you so much, Michigan Department of State staff. At this time, we'll return to our public hearing and hearing from all of you all. As a reminder, you'll have 2 minutes to address the commission. We have a countdown timer that I believe is visible on both screens. So keep an eye out for that, but it's much more important for you to express your comments and thoughts to the commission, and we'll keep an eye out on the time. You'll hear the timer. If you talk much past the timer, you'll hear my voice that is gently and lovingly reminding you that your 2 minutes has concluded. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoy that. So when I call your number, you'll step to the microphone and you'll share your thoughts with the commission. I'm also happy to see so many of you to return back to the room. The commission really appreciates that. We need that kind of sustained conversation. And by my count, we are at 32.
Hello, my name is Jim Soto. My apologies for earlier. I was rudely out in the hallway, frantically signing up. Again, my name is Jim Soto. I'm a resident of Port Huron, and I am professor of philosophy at St. Clair County Community College. I was not planning on speaking today, but my predecessor, Mr. Tom Obie, number 29 to all of you, spoke, and well, like always, I'm just following in his footsteps. So I am here. If I may express something about a community of interest, my recent research has been on moral decision-making and urban planning, urban policy, and these sorts of things. And so I might be speaking from some motivated reasoning here, and I fully admit that. But I want to express and share with you that Port Huron is the urban center of St. Clair County. There is something about Port Huron and its history and its background of being this urban center where we have a vibrant, dynamic urban area. We have also gone through the waxes and wanes of all of the large macroeconomic changes in America. We've suffered through urban renewal. We have suffered through the collapse of auto industries and the resurgence and that sort of thing. We also have all of the struggles of urban areas, and we have the wonderful wins of urban areas. We have this wonderfully vibrant and diverse city, and it's fantastic. And so if there is a community of interest, I would say it is sort of city of Port Huron. 2, 1, done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim, for sharing your comments with the commission. 33.
Hi, my name is Frank Bublitz. I'm originally from Saginaw. Moved down here to Port Huron in 1986 on a 5-year plan and somehow ended up staying. I did not plan on speaking either because I normally can't even introduce myself in 2 minutes. But I was motivated to speak because of something I heard earlier. And my caution to you, as a member of 3 commissions in my earlier life, nominated by the governor or somehow in the government of Michigan, we all went in with the attitude that we were going to be independent and we were not going to feel coercion or cause coercion to anyone else or have it brought down on us. I don't know any of you personally, please don't take this personally, but I didn't vote for this commission. I don't believe in that any citizens commission in Michigan right now can be independent. And I would caution you to be stubborn. Watch the movie 12 Angry Men. And if you have a position you believe strongly in, be Henry Fonda and make sure that you talk out those positions till the end. You stand up for yourself, because in all of those commissions that we went into with starry eyes and open minds, every time we came up with a recommendation that didn't seem to suit the people that put us into that commission, that recommendation suddenly didn't make it into a final report or never got acted upon. And so I wanted to share with you that please be careful of those pressures that you put on yourself and that might be put on to you. But what prompted me to speak to you was one of the people that put this ballot proposal together and made sure it came in an off-year election when a lot of people don't care, talked about one of the motivations being extremism. Well, when I was 10 years old, it was extreme to ask for 70% of someone's income, as the federal tax rate was. Now it's extreme to ask to keep 70% of your income. So who defines fairness and who defines extremism? So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank, for taking the time to address the commission. 34.
Sorry.
Thank
See why
you.
they picked you.
Thank you. 34.
Hello, my name is Marcus Middleton. I'm a resident of City of Port Huron. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all the comments. And everyone has an interest one way or another that, well, it kind of benefits themselves. That's what they're trying to look for. And they're trying to convince you for one certain reason or another. But what is really interesting here, the only younger individuals here, I'd say, have to be here. And there's a few that are interested. And I think what the commission should look into, while you're sitting there looking in the audience, look at the age group of the audience. And there again, listen to the comments, because 10 years from now, after this is drawn, we have 10 years, I believe, before it goes again. In 10 years, these interests are going to be completely different than what they're saying right now. So I'm asking the commission to look at your audience, because where are you going to be in 10 years? Is this commission going to help these younger people? And that's what I'm concerned about. You know, I've already been down the road. I've done it one way or the other. And, whatever comes, okay, fine. It's these young ones that need help right now. And I think that's what I'm asking the commission. Sit there and look at your audience. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much, Marcus, for drawing our attention to that point, and we appreciate you addressing the commission. 35.
Good evening. I'm Karen Morgan from Port Huron. To follow Marcus, you should look at yourself. The number of young people on the commission itself is minimal. I think that's very important. I think the question of the reason the commission is here is because people could not get the legislature to behave appropriately. So if we could just have appropriately drawn districts with the right number of people in a regular shape, that would be a great thing. When I was in high school and studying political science, there were some things that you were told to look at and be careful about. The medical student's disease, where a disease is described and you think, oh my gosh, I must have it. Or bandwagoning, or gerrymandering. Today, gerrymandering is a way for your party to win, and whether it's a fair thing or not is seemingly irrelevant. If you watch golf, you will see they don't move the ball unless there's somebody standing there watching. We surely could take better care of our vote than we do of our golf balls. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karen, for taking the time to address the commission. 36.
Good evening. My name is Lee Pochert. I live in East China. There are some mornings when I wake up and I am fearful that our democracy is not going to be in existence as we know it for my great-grandchildren. I notice there's no national flag, there's no state flag. But what I came here tonight was to impress upon the commission that you need to be honest, you need to be fair, you need to be impartial you just need to be impartial. You're not here to serve any political committee or political party. You're not here to serve any ethnic group. You're here to serve the state of Michigan's citizens. And as you carry out your function, please, I want you to keep that in mind. I'm sure when you're all done, no one in here is going to agree with everything you came up with. But just if you do it as honest and fair and impartial, that's all that I ask for. So thank you for letting me participate in government.
Thank you so much for taking the time to address the commission. We appreciate you. 37.
Hello, my name is Carol Siever, and I've lived in St. Clair County for 56 years, right now in the area of Wadhams in Kimball Township. I wasn't going to say anything because I didn't think I had anything important to say. And I was chatting with one of your members up there, and he said, "Are you going to speak?" And I said, "No, not really." He said, "Well, you should. That's just what we want to hear." Well, I have very little to say, but I will say it. I would like to mention, I hope you are enjoying our beautiful waterfront here, which goes all the way down to the bay. So that right there is an interest for the district here. The only thing I would have to say is what I was discussing with my township supervisor. He and I were discussing this issue. What would we say would be the interests of this area? So he said, and I thought it was pretty good, I want to use his words. He says, rural living with city convenience. And I thought, oh, that's good. And then we started to talk about, well, what are those things? And he said, outdoor living. And I said, okay, that's good. That's good. Camping, fishing, hunting. And that pretty much sums it up. We have seen changes here over the years, but not an awful lot. We still have the feeling of rural living with city convenience. We have the beautiful waterfront. We have seen people move in, of course, and businesses expand, but it's pretty much still the same feel of rural living, and we like it that way. I thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. And if you have a map to talk about what outdoor living looks like in the Port Huron area, please do share that with us. We would like to see it. 38.
Hello and welcome.
Hi.
For tens of thousands, on my name's Paige, for tens of thousands of years, this spot right here was called the gathering place, Otisippi. The whole northeast quadrant of our continent and all of the indigenous cultures that lived would come here, central Pine Grove Park, not too far that way, to meet, to mediate, to celebrate, to hunt, to collect, to marry, to pray, to compete. And I do believe it is the Seneca that gave Ben Franklin or someone democracy. One way they changed when they'd all meet, and they'd meet in a circle and they'd all hear each other out. It's so exciting. This is such a special area we're in. And 300 years ago, they said, you know, we got some white bread coming. It's not going to be a little rough for a while, but then you're going to get the kids coming with the braids and the beads. And there is apparently a manifest destiny of our country for the colors of the four people all over the planet to come here and become a community again. Some say we already have enough food to feed everyone on the planet. We already have enough technologies. It's the fighting over the turf instead of nurturing the garden that is getting in the place. And what is that? That's the two previous people. It's, what's his name? The Beagle guy. He had a theory of competition in nature. It's not, it's cooperation. And we had a guy, Rock Stevens, downtown. He said, yeah, there's a human race, all humans. So it is about cooperation. I'm old enough that I was of the 60s and I was conservative. Man, I was conservative and I went in and I'm going to change the world from the inside. At 33, I went, going to look for a different way. So I've been practicing healthcare. Got some flyers to leave with you. Thank you. About Otisippi.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments with the commission. At this time, we'll go to 39.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Christopher Cummins. I reside in Rochester Hills, and I drove all the way up here tonight to talk about my community of interest, which is the Rochester area. I know you heard about it at a previous hearing. The Rochester area to me specifically is the two combined cities of Rochester and Rochester Hills, 36 square miles. We were previously told that they share in common with common services, I should say, the library, the Older Persons Commission, school district, the district court, and of course the Chamber of Commerce. They also have in common the Historic Society as well. I think you should be looking at, again, these historic districts as much as possible when you take into consideration the drawing of the district lines. So my request is for Rochester and Rochester Hills to be combined and not separated for all three of the maps: State House, State Senate, and the U.S. House. Furthermore, just to the north is Oakland Township, which does have a Rochester mailing address for at least part of its, some of its residents. And I would encourage you to include Oakland Township along with Rochester and Rochester Hills together in any state Senate or US House districts that you draw to keep them together. I think there might be too much population for all three for Oakland Township to be included in a state house district with Rochester and Rochester Hills. But that was my purpose for coming up here tonight, is to advocate for my community of interest. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for all the effort you've put into this. Good
Thank you
night.
so much. We appreciate you addressing the commission and driving all that way to share about your community of interest. And 40.
Good evening. My name is John Danielle. I live in Grosse Pointe Woods, which is in the northeast portion of Wayne County. And first, I would like to express my thanks to the commissioners for volunteering to take on this enormously difficult task. And it's a very important task, so thank you very much. I respectfully ask that as you consider the boundaries, that you recognize the 5 Grosse Pointe municipalities: Grosse Pointe Woods, Grosse Pointe Farms, Grosse Pointe Shores, Grosse Pointe Park, and the city of Grosse Pointe, and those communities north of the points as my community of interest. I live in Grosse Pointe Woods. I shop there. I socialize there. My neighbors' children attend Grosse Pointe schools. I obtain my medical and dental services there. I dine out there, enjoy the library services. There exists close cooperation between the fire and police agencies of the 5 municipalities of the Grosse Pointes. But also it's important to understand that my community of interest extends beyond the Grosse Pointes to the communities north of the points. And as evidence of that northern orientation, I would like to just mention that my own city, Grosse Pointe Woods, our city park actually lies within the boundaries of St. Clair Shores, which is in Macomb County to the north of us. And significant portions of Grosse Pointe Shores actually lie within Macomb County, outside of Wayne. And the Grosse Pointe School District encompasses significant portions of Harper Woods, another suburb north and to the west of the points. Those aspects of my life that are not lived out in the Grosse Pointes are lived out almost exclusively in the northern communities. I conduct additional shopping there. I personally worship in Roseville. My other neighbors attend church in St. Clair Shores. My place of employment is in Warren. Therefore, I ask, as you draw the district boundaries, I respectfully ask that you keep the Grosse Pointes whole and connected to the communities north of the points. These are the facts of my life, and I'm very confident that they are strongly representative of the typical resident. So once again, thank you sincerely for your hard work.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your comments and thoughts with the commission. We appreciate it. 41.
Hello, how are you all? My name is Marie Hackelman, and I'm not in my community of interest right at the moment. I'm also from the Grosse Pointe area and I've come up here and so grateful for the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you for what you're doing. So my name is Marie Hackelman. I live in Grosse Pointe Park, and that's in the county of Wayne. And the Grosse Pointes, as you may know, are nestled in the northernmost spot of Wayne County. There are 5: Grosse Pointe Park, City, Farms, Woods, and Shores. They are all interconnected. We live as one community, not even though we're technically 5 municipalities. We have mutual aid between all of them. We share services between them. Our school district is the Grosse Pointe Public School District. Presently, we're divided into 2 house districts. It complicates things. It'd be great if we were in one district together. Our school district also incorporates a portion of Harper Woods, and Grosse Pointe Woods actually has a waterfront park, which is located in St. Clair Shores and Macomb Township to the north of us. Grosse Pointe Shores is actually located between a portion in Wayne County and another portion in Macomb County. There are many things that tie our district together with those north of us. The schools, our athletics competes and Lands Cruise, Anchor Bay, those areas. We're along the water, the Lake St. Clair. We're at the bottom portion of Lake St. Clair. Those other communities are along the lake. There are issues that we need an advocate for and representation regarding various threats, disasters that have to do with the water. And it would be great if we could be connected, with as the Grosse Pointes, including Harper Woods and those communities north. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Marie, we appreciate you taking the time to address the commission. We don't mind community of interest crashers. You can come anywhere in Michigan as long as you want to be heard and to talk with the commission. So we appreciate that. 42.
Hi, my name is Martin Perzondek. I come from Port Austin, which is a small community in the tip of the thumb, which is Huron County. I'm here because right now Huron County is part of the 10th district, and it has been since the last realignment. And I'm asking that Huron County be in the same district as Bay County, which it was prior to the last redistricting. Huron County and Bay County have a lot of commonality when it comes to shoreline fishing, boating, recreation. In Huron County, we rely on Bay County media, WNEM TV5, the Bay City Times, not Detroit media particularly. Our athletics mostly compete with Bay City area athletics. We use Bay County for shopping, restaurants, entertainment, doctors, when we can't get the necessary care that isn't available in Huron County. So, thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your comments and thoughts with the commission. We appreciate it. And if you'd like to specify the area that you were just speaking about, please use our public comment tool to submit a map or the comment that you just shared in writing. We'd appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. At this time, we're going to move to our remote public comment. Individuals who have signed up and indicated that they would like to provide live remote public commentary to the commission will now be allowed to do so. I will turn the floor over to Michigan Department of State staff. And if you're on a computer, you'll be prompted by the Zoom app to unmute your microphone and speak. If you are on the phone, a voice will say that the host would like you to speak and prompt you to press *6 to unmute. The Michigan Department of State staff will introduce you, and note that if you experience any technical or audio issues and we don't hear from you for 3 to 5 seconds, we'll move on to the next person in line and then we'll return to you. If you're still having issues and we can't connect with you to share your thoughts today for commentary, you can email redistricting@michigan.gov and we'll arrange a way for you to participate during the next public comment period at a later hearing or meeting. Again, just like we did for in-person, you will have 2 minutes to address the commission. Please do conclude your remarks at the end of the 2 minutes. You'll also hear a timer, even though it's virtual. Please do listen out for our timer. And you can go to the public comment tool and share your comments in writing, including any area of the map that you'll be speaking about. Again, that public comment tool is www.michigan.gov/MICRC. For purposes of those present and also those watching and listening, we have 3 virtual public comments, just 3. So if you're in the room, maybe you listen to the 3. If you don't have time, we love that you sat this long with us and was an ear to the peers, as well as giving voice to your perspective with the commission this evening. So Michigan Department of State staff, Sarah Reinhardt, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 1 public comment participant present, and that's in Mr. James Gallant. Please allow us a moment to unmute you.
Thank you for that clarification.
Hello? Can you hear me
Hello,
now?
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. All righty then. My name is James Gallant. I'm with the Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition. And my community of interest is all people that acknowledge that Robert's Rules of Order 2020 as the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in the United States of America. It seems that there's only 2 people in the state of Michigan so far that agree with me that this commission must follow the Robert's Rules of Order. And that is your former attorney, Mr. Mike Brady, and your executive director, Ms. Hammerschmidt, as she pointed out at your meeting earlier, that the constitutional amendment requires a majority rules process. That means all decisions being made by a majority vote at a public meeting under the Open Meetings Act. It seems that this commission is attempting to move towards a collaborative, facilitated dialogue, consensus type process that is not compatible with the Constitution of the state of Michigan. And please remember that in court, fairness will only be measured by this commission's fidelity to the approved Robert's Rules of Order and the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America. Now, your colleague, Commissioner Clark, suggested earlier at the meeting that he favors a consensus process in favor of that, and I paraphrase, that pesky, motion and vote thing. So I believe that it would be a big mistake for you folks to allow anybody to dissuade you from following the Robert's Rules of Order, which you voted to approve anyway, and you are personally responsible for your vote. And like I said, in court, the fairness is going to be, did you follow the rules? And like they said that, Mr. Richardville didn't follow the rules. Well, guess what? That just changed the name. And like some of the folks earlier said, it's just changing the name, and you're gerrymandering here. If you're talking about your community of interests and your peoples and whatever it is you're talking about, doesn't matter. It's the fundamental principles of parliamentary law in America that protects everybody equally. And people talk about this community of,
Mr. Gallant, your allotted 2 minutes has ended.
Okay, we'll finish up in 2 more minutes later.
Thank you so much for sharing your comment with the commission. I turn the floor back over to Michigan Department of State staff because I believe we have a second comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At this time, we will now allow participants who have requested to speak for a second time to provide public comment. We have one participant who has made this request. That is a Mr. James Gallant. If you could give me a moment to unmute you.
Okay, are you still with me? Oh, hello?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, so we can continue here. It's James Gallant, Marquette County Suicide Prevention Coalition, community of interest, people that believe in Robert's Rules of Order and the American way. So as I was saying, I stated this earlier that I found that 3 applications of this commission were disqualified during the random selection process. Well, I reviewed everybody's current members, and it appears that we have several members that had incomplete applications also. Commissioner Kellum, the chair, Commissioner Lett, Commissioner Zadella, they wrote, choose not to answer on the questions that were, it said, to ensure that you don't have a conflict of interest. They wrote all the same answer, exactly the same phrase, choose not to answer, as if maybe they were coached to do so. And then we have Commissioner Wagner, Commissioner Decker, and Commissioner Eade that have no date stamp on their applications of verifying that they were there before the deadline on January 1st, 2020. And also, Commissioner Eade said that he wrote down that he is of Middle Eastern race. And as we learned earlier from the person that you contracted with, Middle Eastern is not a race. That's not a race. They want it to be. They're trying to make it that, but it's not a race at this time. So I believe his is like got 2 missing things on it. And so please vote to receive a written report from your attorney concerning the applications and with the completeness of the applications of the current members in order to verify that they have been. I've talked and spoken to Mr. Rollo, who conducted those, and the governor's office and my senator, and we're going to try to get into this. And I believe that what would that be? 6 people should be removed from this commission immediately, and we should be reappointing somebody immediately. And before you get too far into the process, and, especially with this 3 people in a committee thing, and I believe somebody mentioned that you're doing the divide and conquer like they did in California. Well, the Democrats in California, it's known on the internet. I'll be submitting the articles that the Democrats they ended up on the upside in
You're allotted
California
2
10 years.
minutes has ended.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you so much for providing commentary to the commission this evening. At this time, we are done with both in-person and remote public commentary. And if there are no objections, I will have our general counsel provide acknowledgements. Hearing no objection, general counsel.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you again to St. Clair County for being so welcoming this evening. The commission would like to thank the League of Women Voters, as well as Voters Not Politician volunteers for staffing the event and helping to make it a success. We would also like to thank the Blue Water Convention Center for being such a wonderful host. Thank you again, Madam Chair.
Thank you once again to everyone who was involved in putting today together, as well as each of you that took the time out to share comments. We encourage you to continue to provide those comments in writing. As you see, you can come to other public hearings, the last 2 that we'll have, and any other town hall. Please keep in the conversation because we do need the input. At this time, with no further items left on the agenda and the commission having no further business, I would like a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Witches. Can I have a second? Second made by Commissioner Lett. Is there any discussion about the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, raise your hand and say nay. The ayes have it. The motion carries and the meeting is adjourned at 7:19. Everyone be well and be safe, please.